anyways, let's get on here. Going to wait for some people to come in. Otherwise, I'm just going to probably be babbling to myself, which is okay. But figured, might as well, in the meantime, play some music. Because we can. Let's see. Let's see. Don't know if y'all can hear that, but got some music in the background. Maybe you can hear it. Y'all convinced me to go live, so. Because I originally wasn't going to make a video until tomorrow, but I'm going to let the music play for a bit, and then we'll get into the live Q&A. If there aren't really too many questions, then I'll just end up talking. Probably will pull some cards, too. If you couldn't tell that I like to beatbox, what? My first time listening to this song, by the way. So this is a new experience for all of us. Oh man, oh girl, oh soul. About to drop into the poetic flow. I'm just chilling here, calling the wood with my peeps and my deeds, and I'm just gonna keep on moving forward every day. No matter how many clouds get in my way, I will shine my light. I'm just chilling here, calling it. with my soul fam. Got my spirit guides all around me dancing. Yeah, we gonna raise the beat, raise the vibration now. We are surfing on a new frequency. Gonna bring this thing up, can't you see? I'm just saying now. Take out the sunglasses. Look up at the sun, right in your eyes. That's right. When I look up, I see butterflies. I got them in my heart everywhere. Transformation. Gonna transfigure this reality, and I'm gonna transmute my reality so I can see that everything is a-okay. We're chilling now. We're dancing now. We're vibing now. It's all good now. Astro Fenixx coming at you with these slick flows. I don't even know if this is gonna even go. I'm gonna just keep it going now. As you can see, this is poetry in motion. I'm just gonna keep it flowing, practicing every day, working hard every day. It's a spiritual battle, and if you think that you defeated me, I'll just rise up the next day, cause I got the key in my heart. And so do you. And so do you. People beware. We got waffles. I may be a little crazy, but you came to me, you came into the spirit, so you're gonna get what you get. I'm not going to put a filter on this shit. Now you're going to get me authentically. That's right, unapologetically. I'm gonna bring myself to you, every single ounce of me to you. I'm gonna shine my light, radiate love every day, every moment, every moment, every smile, every frown, every tear, and every laughter. Ha ha ha. Ho ho ho. Don't you see now we are in the show. We're gonna raise a vibration every single day. It's a party. Don't you know it's a-okay? Moon and Sag now. You're gonna dance. Got the strobe lights all around me, and it's all cool and it's all good. Even when I'm crying, yeah, it's all good. Transmuting energies every single day. Even when I'm faced with the challenges, I appreciate the challenges. Thank you for showing up so I can serve them out and stand on top. But you can't be on top forever. Sometimes you have to go into the valley where the shadows are and the fog is. It's all cool now. That's where the seasons are. And I will, even if I don't see the sun, even if I'm buried, even if I have dirt, I will rise above. Yo, what's going on, fam? I love you all so much. Thank you for joining. You caught a little bit of the poetry in motion. A little bit of the poetry in motion. You guys caught it. I had to go there. How are y'all doing? We are vibing. We are here. You're very welcome, Amanda Jackson. Yeah, I didn't mean to skip Scorpio. It just kind of happened, but it's all good. It really is. I'm probably going to make a special video about the Scorpionic energy in particular, because I know the Peace Healer did this, talking about the Pluto and Scorpio generation. I want to make a video about it. I have Pluto, Mars, and my Sun in the 12th house Scorpio, all within 5 degrees of each other. So I really want to make a video about Pluto and Scorpio. I think it'll be very, 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 very important. So that's why, like, here's the funny thing about Scorpionic energy. Even if we receive hate, Scorpio is a transmuting energy. Now, I know in the tarot, the card of Temperance, which is about transmutation, is ruled by Sagittarius. But the reason why is because through the Scorpio vibration, you have to learn how to go into those depths and how to appreciate those depths and how to really, in many ways, accept the depths of those feelings. So that when you come to that Sagittarius energy, that mutable fire, this is what allows Sagittarius to just go and travel everywhere. And it kind of what gives them sort of this sense of non-attachment, because you're going from fixed water, which is arguably next to Taurus, one of the most attached signs, to mutable fire. And this is talking about taking your light and shining it in every corner of your reality, no matter what you're receiving. You could be receiving love, you could be receiving hate. Sagittarius is going to shine that light anyways. That's what's so cool about the Sagittarius vibe. And that's what's so cool about Scorpio, is because even though it is fixed water, it is, think about it, fixed water in many ways is ice, and we have the poles, you know, the North Pole and the South Pole. There's always ice there. Even if the ice recedes during the summer months, you know, it also expands. So there's a reason why we have these poles as ice. There's a reason why. But it's kind of interesting how they have like pretty much just 2 months out of the year. They don't really get spring and fall. It's just summer and winter. It's very hot and cold, you know, in these parts of the world. So there's a reason why. In many ways, we're kind of like that. If you want to think of it like our toroidal field, and I can even kind of give you like a visual of this, is when you think of the toroidal field, this is what I'm referring to, right? And this energy, it goes out and comes back in. See if I could, I just want to be able to show you guys this properly. But see this toroidal field, how things will come in and they go out and stuff, right? So there's this interesting like space right here, right? But this is the Taurus. This is actually another reason why Taurus sounds like Taurus. That which you put out into the universe comes back to you. And yes, in many ways, it does come through the anus, which is the South Node. And here's the funny thing about the South Node. The South Node, if you think of the North and South Node of the Moon, because they are based off the Moon, if you think of the North and South Node, it's like the South Node is usually what is physically apparent. It gets transformed and morphed, and then it comes back out again. So it's like right now, the South Node is in Capricorn. The North Node is in Cancer. So what we're ejecting out into the universe, into our toroidal field, which does affect everyone and everything around us, has to do with cardinal water, right? So it has to do with how we direct our emotions. But this is based off of cardinal Earth, how we direct our physical reality, how we deal with this Capricornian vibe, the politics on a macro scale and a micro scale. So that's what's happening right now. And our planet is a perfect representation of this energy, because the magnetic field, all of the fields around the Earth, they do this dance. That which you put out is received. That's the interesting thing about it. So, you know, this is why it's important to respond differently. So if people respond to you and they give you disdain, hatred, do you really want to fire back at them with an AK-47? Because if you fire back at them with an AK-47, I'm not saying don't defend yourself, but if you fire back with an AK-47, you're going to get shot. You're ultimately shooting yourself. So that's why I was like, I appreciate the dislike, because maybe there's something I have to work on, but also it's still energy. And I can choose what to do with that energy. So if someone gives me hatred, I can turn that into love, because everything's love anyways, right? Facts. How are y'all doing, by the way? How was your Monday been? How are y'all dealing with this moon in Sagittarius? How are y'all doing with Aries season? We're going to go into the chart in a bit, and I will do a Q&A, so if you guys have any questions and stuff like that. Are you talking about hatred because of the dislikes? Dislikes don't necessarily mean hatred. I'm just talking in general. Whenever you receive opposition, it's important to know how you react to it. And since the North Node in Cancer, we are being taught, we're being encouraged to react differently. Water, in many ways, it rules emotions, and cardinal energy is about directing that energy. Think of if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, or even just think about like, I mean, I use Avatar: The Last Airbender because I'm a nerd, right? And it's about like directing things, right? This whole thing, that whole motion. Right now, we're being taught how to efficiently bend water. We're also being learned how to efficiently bend earth, but at the same time, the negative manifestations of the Capricornian energy are more readily apparent, so we have to learn how to transmute it. Mm. Mm. But yes, we're in here, we're vibing. I'm in a good mood. I took a nap today. That's probably what helps. Honestly, because like my fiance, she went to work, and then like after she went to work, I was just like, I mean, I just stayed in bed pretty much, and I just like fell asleep, and I'm just like, it's okay. I was actually talking about that with my coworker the day before. I was like, the best naps are when you fall asleep in the middle of the day and you wake up and the sun's like getting ready to go down. Those are like the best naps in the world. I don't know why, but those midday naps are like some of the best in the world. Right afternoon, like around 2 or 3, and then you wake up right before the sun goes down. Those are like very divine naps. I'm sure there's a reason for that, but yes. We are vibing. What's the song? The song that's on right now is called I Found Love. This is all royalty-free stream music that I have. But yeah, right now the mood isn't sad, so everyone is feeling more energy right now. We do have a lot more fire going on. We don't have any Leo energy, but we do have the Sun in Aries. We do have Chiron in Aries, but now we also have the Moon in Sagittarius, which will be meeting up with Jupiter soon. And this will be the last conjunction that the Moon makes to Jupiter before Jupiter goes retrograde. Jupiter retrogrades, they're not necessarily, they're not like Mercury retrograde, stuff like that. Weird things can happen during Mercury retrograde. And I gotta say that this Mercury retrograde in particular was probably one of the weirdest I've had. It wasn't bad, but it was one of the weirdest that I have experienced. Just because, like, you hear about Mercury retrograde all the time, and a lot of times it doesn't necessarily live up to the hype that we give it, the slapsticky kind of hype, But this Mercury retrograde was like, what? What do you think about the current relationship? Excuse me. What do you think about the current relationship between the masculine and the feminine? I believe that the relationship between the masculine and feminine is going through a renewal of vows. I think this is based off of the fact that Uranus has entered into Taurus. And it's really interesting because even though they're going through a renewal of vows, what we're going to experience is sort of like this last remnant of the toxic masculine trying to hold on to its position in our reality. And there's a perfect example of this. I live in Georgia, and we recently had a bill that was passed here that would ban abortion after 6 weeks of being pregnant. And there was a picture that was shown on our news outlets, right? Where the representation of the people that supported this bill and got it approved, there was one female and then probably 20 or 30 guys. And not to play this card, but they were all white, and most of the men were probably over the age of 50. People that don't necessarily represent the future of this country or the future of this state. And to ban abortion at 6 weeks. Now, If I got my fiance pregnant, would I want her to get an abortion? No, and I don't think she would want to get an abortion. But who am I to tell someone else what to do with their body, first of all? And then it's pretty fucked up that the representation was that skewed towards the masculine, which is toxic, because what I'm seeing it as is that most people who are anti-abortion, the main reason why it was that way in the first place was so there could be more Christians. Because if you aborted babies that could potentially be Christian, then, you know, that, I guess, quote unquote, decreases the army of God. But the army of God is not, it's not exclusive to one religion. Like, it's not. So it's like this whole gender war that's happening right now is that I believe that the toxic masculinity, which is trying to shield the divine masculinity, which will rise over the next 8 years, you will see it with Uranus being in Taurus. You will see the divine masculine energy rise and want to meet the divine feminine energy. Because what's happening in many ways is that there are individuals that want to embody the divine feminine, and we all have these energies within us. We all have divine masculine and divine feminine. But there are individuals that want to embody the divine feminine, but because the toxic masculine, and I hate that word, by the way, toxic, and I'm a Scorpio, so I deal with poison. But the toxic masculinity is being so pervasive that those who want to embody the divine feminine and aren't trusting of their soul and spirit are choosing to deny their soul and spirits, right? And they're deciding to adapt to the way things are, therefore kind of tapping into the bit of the toxic femininity. So it creates this perpetual loop, and it's kind of fucked up. It really is kind of fucked up. Is it Mercury retrograde over on the 28th, and how long is the leftover energy? In many ways, the leftover energy lasts for a while with Mercury retrograde. Technically, it won't really conclude until Mercury comes out of shadow, which we'll look at the chart, but I can just look at it just real quick. If Mercury comes direct on the 28th, around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it won't go past 29 degrees of Pisces until about, let's see, the day that Mercury comes into Aries is April 17th. Today is the 25th of March. So we have about 3 weeks or so. So it's going to take about 3 weeks for us to not feel this hangover. What's cool about this is that when it comes out of its hangover, Venus will be in Pisces, Neptune will be in Pisces at 17 degrees, Chiron will be out of its shadow period, it'll be at 3 degrees of Aries, and Uranus will almost be out of its shadow period of Taurus. I'm going to show you guys all this in a moment too. So very interesting, a lot of energies that are going on. But yeah, as far as the gender wars and stuff, the divine masculine, you gotta understand that there are people such as myself, and not just people who have physically incarnated as men, but as women as well, are wanting the divine masculine and the divine feminine to meet and to integrate. But there is this toxicity within both the masculine and feminine energies that's trying to hold on to the way things have been. Because it's like, I'm going to say this, and it sucks because it's true, but it's not true, and it is true, but it's a man's world. But it's a particular man's world. You know what I mean? It's a particular man's world, and that ideal is dying. And I think what's happening is that those particular men that are trying to hold on, they feel like they're going to be in the quote unquote the minority. They feel like they're going to be forgotten about, or they feel like they're going to probably get destroyed, you know? And it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. Now, we as the human populace are going to, if we continue to integrate and have sex with each other the way that we are doing, we're all going to end up one color. So, but even if we end up one color physically, it doesn't mean that our predominant aura is the same color. Just like some people's predominant aura is blue, some people's predominant aura is green, some people's predominant aura is red, but that doesn't make them, when it comes to that color game, that's a whole nother thing that's being worked out as far as like color and race and all these different wars. Is the whole aura war, which no one's really talking about. Because typically when you think of red, you think of security, foundation, I'm safe, I'm secure. When you think of green, you think of the heart chakra, I am open to receiving, I am love. You think of blue, it's like I am expressive, you know. Um, there are different kinds of things that are working themselves out. You guys give me one moment. I'm gonna go run to the bathroom real quick. But enjoy the music. I'll be right back, okay? Okay. 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 I turned to a random page in my poetry book, page 22 and 23. It's pretty cool, actually. Master number 22. Shout out. I wanted to read to you all this poem titled Watering Flowers. Watering flowers. How amazing they are, the colorful ones. As they soak in the moisture I deliver just for a moment, I can feel like the rain. They say thank you for such nourishment. A wonderful exchange they give me, healing and meditation. I give them water, that that they that they take and make with an even more colorful display. A dance in the breeze that seems so simple and joyous, we forget their whispers. To just be in this now and soak it all in. To be in their space, and while they may compete with each other, they are secure enough in their palette with no need to paint the others around them. I think it's awesome how I turned to that page when we just were talking about race and stuff and how we try and paint each other different colors. And it's funny, you have people out there who claim that their race is the best race, the superior race, and yet their aura suggests that they kind of radiate a different color of the spectrum, and we already all the colors of the spectrum. But generally, you have like kind of like a core color. Now, my color is somewhere between blue and purple. It kind of radiates in that frequency. And some people who are brown, because I'm not black, my shirt is black, but some people who are brown, they may be more orange or tangerines or pinks or whites or greens or reds or yellows. Some may be blue or purple, some may be more blue and purple than me. But I think it's interesting, these gender wars, these race wars, they are unwinnable wars. They are unwinnable wars. They really are. Let me look back at the comments to see what everyone's saying. What's up, Sig? Good vibes. Welcome. Thank you for bringing even more good vibes. I do really appreciate you all coming out. But if you guys, and you can ask any kind of question. You can ask personal questions. You can ask questions about the astrology. I probably will be pulling cards at some point. I probably will show you guys the chart at some point during this. But this is just sort of like it's like kind of like a freestyle live video. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of heads up, I'm going to be uploading some meditational videos based off of the chakras. The first one will come out either tomorrow or Wednesday, and then every week I'm going to upload the next chakra. So I'm going to do the root chakra, and then I'm going to, of course, go up. And we're going to be doing that soon. I may go live tomorrow. I'm doing a weekly. Actually, I want to talk about Venus in Pisces. So my partner happens to have her natal Venus in Pisces. So I have some direct experience with this energy. It's pretty fucking cool. I thought I was magical and really into fantasy and stuff, but she the way she brings it is she brings it in a very grounded way, but also at the same time, it's kind of cool. I personally have Venus in Libra, so, you know, where Venus likes to be. And Venus is exalted in Pisces, so it's like things are about to kind of become like Disneyland, like fairyland, fairy world. And really, because it's happening with this Mercury retrograde too, even though Mercury retrograde is only going to be here for another couple of days, it's going to feel very much so Alice in Wonderland like. So I don't know what time I'm gonna do that tomorrow. It depends on what else I get done. I have some things. I mean, today I just want it to be a chill day. But tomorrow I want to work out. I want to make sure I do some other things, get that other video uploaded, and kind of do some more stuff, you know. So gotta run some personal errands as well. But in any event, yeah, if y'all have any questions, please ask away. I just dropped something because I like to fiddle with things. Oh dear. Ah. We always keep the vibe popping, that's for sure. We always keep the vibe popping. Going back to the gender wars, by the way, we are, like I said, do you not like the term black? Just from a purely scientific standpoint, I'm not black, I'm brown. I don't dislike the term black. I just, because white people aren't technically white. Technically not. I don't necessarily like the term black, but at the same time, I don't have any issues with the color black. You know, I really don't. I just think that this whole trying to push people into a box when it comes to color is stupid. You know, I think it's stupid, and it's like, and it's kind of weird because I'm not gonna lie, I don't have a lot of quote unquote black friends, like close black friends. I really don't. And growing up, I was called an Oreo. I remember people calling me an Oreo, like, "Oh, Jamaal, you're not really black." You're an Oreo, which means I'm black on the outside, white on the inside, which doesn't really make any sense to me, honestly. You know, um, I don't know. I'm kind of like neither here nor there about the term. Um, I have experienced some pretty interesting things though, and you would think growing up in Georgia in the South, I would experience more racism. A lot of it's on the hush hush, but I will tell you this story, and then I will address, Amanda, what you just said. But this was when I was like maybe 19 or 20. Me and my fiance had just moved in with each other. Might have been in the first year that we had our own place, and we were on the middle floor in our apartment complex in our building, and the people above us were rowdy as shit. And I can remember that they had like some sort of party going on, and because I kind of wanted to hear more what they were saying, and they're out on the deck, I kind of went out there to listen, and they're all talking and laughing and joking around. And then I don't think the dude knew. Maybe he did know. I legitimately don't think he knew, but it was kind of fun. I look back on it and it's funny. And I'm not gonna lie, in this moment, just to preface, I was high and drunk at the same time. But I heard the dude said, "Quiet guys, you're gonna wake up my nigger downstairs." And he said nigger, like Nigger. He said, "Quiet guys, you're gonna wake up my nigger downstairs." And I was like, "Oh shit, really?" And now normally when I hear that word, I don't get triggered. But the truth serum, aka the alcohol and weed, was in me. And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm about to ruin this dude's night." And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And they're like, "Wait, do you guys hear that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me. It's the nigger downstairs." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh." And they like ran inside. And I just started laughing. But admittedly, I was triggered. But it's like, I get stuff like that. And that doesn't happen. That's like a very extreme case. Most of the time, what happens is I can just feel it off of people. I just feel it. And it's they think they're being subtle, but they're really not, because they don't know that I'm a Scorpio sun in the 12th house. So I can just feel energies that they think it's subtle, but for me, I'm like, "Hi, I'm right here." And then also my fiance is white, so we've gotten looks from people. And it's like we can be walking around somewhere and you'll always get that it's usually an older white dude, sometimes it's an older white lady, but you'll get that older white dude that's just kind of looking at us. And I'll be like, "That's right, nigga. That's right. Yeah, that's right." I also get racism from black people too. It's not just from white people. So, that's that Scorpio sarcastic sting. You're damn right it is. Um, I've gotten that I talk like a white girl. Yeah, I've gotten that I talk like a white person. Like, "Oh, you're very articulate in speaking. You don't sound like you're from the South." And I'm like, "Where do I sound like I'm from? The North, California?" I just sound like I'm me. Now, I can slip into a country accent, but that doesn't mean that I'm like ignorant or dumb. I met plenty of people. One of the smartest guys I knew growing up had the countryest accent in the world. And he was like probably more like book smarts, but he was one of the smartest guys I knew. He sounded country as shit. So I think it's kind of weird how we will just automatically judge people based off of the way they look, the way that they sound. It's pretty effed up. All right, Amanda, let's get to your comment. What's your opinions on Cancer Sun with Aquarius Moon? Woman and man Taurus Sun with Scorpio Moon. Just off the bat, compatibility wise. Cancer Sun, Aqua Moon, Man Taurus Sun, Scorpio Moon. Well, just based off of this, the Cancer and the Taurus sextile each other. So your personalities do go well, but the moons square each other. So it's like things can be very easygoing, but with the moons and the way that you guys react emotionally, if you guys aren't on the same page, you guys react similarly, but in different ways. Anytime you have squaring energies, it's essentially doing the same thing, but in a different fashion. So take, for example, I'm a Scorpio sun. My partner is an Aquarius sun. So in many ways, when we're clicking and we see eye to eye on things, She can explain it in one way and I can explain it in another way, but we get each other. But when we're butting heads, oh my gosh, it's like crazy. So with the moon energies, it's like when it comes to those sensitive topics and when it comes to expressing yourself, you can express yourself. You're trying to express the same thing, but you do it in different ways. So I personally believe that, yes, you could be more compatible with one sign or another, but at the same time, you know, any combination can work if you really want to work at it. Now, just based off of the sun with Cancer and Taurus, it's kind of nice because with the Cancer energy, you do have this emotional strength and quality to you that most of the signs do not have. And you guys are constantly healing, especially through your dream state. Now, with the Taurus energy, the Taurus sun, they actually have the ability to help you to ground a lot of these emotions. So the great thing about Taurus is because since the moon is exalted in Taurus, that's the other cool thing about it, is that whenever the moon comes into these signs, since the moon is exalted in Taurus and it likes to be in Cancer, even though your moon signs don't necessarily see eye to eye, whenever the moon transits your sun signs, it allows you this opportunity to heal and allows you this opportunity to kind of come together and kind of like, you know, more or less kind of get to an understanding of where each other's coming from, you know. So and the moon moves fast. That's the good thing about the moon, is that when it comes to emotions and the way that we're expressing ourselves, this is why it's so important to learn how to healthily process your emotions, because we are in an emotional dark age. But if people knew the lunar cycle, this is why the lunar cycle is super fucking important. Not that the solar cycle isn't, but it's super fucking important to know the lunar cycle, which is another side effect of this masculine feminine energy, right? Because the sun in many ways represents the masculine, the moon can represent the feminine in many ways, right? So the reason why people are so out of touch with reality is because they're hung up on something that happened to them while the moon was in Libra or Sagittarius or Capricorn or wherever. But this cycle was like 5 moon cycles ago or 5 months ago. When since the moves move so fast, you're supposed to learn how to just kind of let the river flow. You know what I mean? So in this particular case about compatibility, pay attention to the moon whenever it goes into Taurus and whenever it goes into Cancer. But also pay attention to when it goes into Gemini, because that's supposed to be kind of like your meeting ground. And then you'll kind of begin to understand more how your moon signs get together, you know, with the moon in Scorpio and the moon in Aquarius. Because moon in Scorpio, it's super intense, super intense, but very, very psychic. And moon in Aquarius is awesome. Don't get it wrong. Like all moon placements are awesome. Moon in Aquarius is cool. They are a little bit more emotionally detached, but they do so because they want to be able to see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? They want to be able to feel the bigger picture. And Moon in Aquarius does feel the bigger picture. And because they feel the bigger picture, there is this need to there's this need to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? To kind of control the way that information is brought out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and it's going to be a very bad example, right? Not a bad example, but just a nerdy example. It's sort of like, if you have a moon in Aquarius, you are aware that there's someone out there that has a level 50 Charizard. But are you really going to be able to defeat that level 50 Charizard with your level 10 Squirtle? Even if you have the type advantage, that Charizard's probably still going to kick your ass. So it's like, Moon and Aquarius people, they know that there are bigger things out there. They feel the bigger picture, but they feel the need to kind of release what they know, what they feel intuitively in small little chunks so they don't overload everything. Believe me, if Moon and Aquarius revealed everything that they felt, this world will really be super overloaded. That makes sense. I know your fiance is an Aquarius, that's why I asked. You're very welcome, Amanda. I do hope that helped you. You're very welcome. Yes, Scorpio sun, Aquarius sun, and our suns square each other within 3 degrees of each other. So it's a pretty close square. So There are days, and she's my best friend, but there are days where it's like we're kind of resonating with her, like we're best friends, and then there are days where we're just like, we even had this funny inner joke that we sometimes bring up, but at the beginning of our relationship, we had this inner joke that we were like going to war with each other. And I was like, okay, so I have this continent, you have this continent, you have this continent. And we kept fighting over Antarctica for some reason. We kept fighting over who would have Antarctica. But we used to make jokes about like, oh, your people came and bombed this area in my continent, whatever here, and we used to make like this whole inside joke. It was funny, but I kind of wonder how real it was. We don't really talk about it anymore. It's like we kind of just decided to ceasefire. But that's an interesting thing about squaring energies. Who had Africa? I'm pretty sure I had Africa. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm pretty sure I had Africa. I think I had Africa. I can't remember who had what. I think I had Africa, South America, maybe Asia. I can't quite remember who had what. See, it's not really relevant anymore because we haven't had that inside joke in a while. But we would fight over Antarctica. It was kind of funny. Yeah. Let's see, actually, since we're talking about the moon is currently at 10 degrees of Sagittarius. It's getting ready to conjunct my Mercury at 16 degrees. And I want to read to you all real quick 10 degrees of Sagittarius and also 11 degrees of Sagittarius in my book, Inside the Degrees. This is a very, very good resource. In fact, what I'm going to do is, I've referred to this resource a lot, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a live video where we actually create our own Chandra symbols for our sun, moon, and rising. I think that'd be really cool. So it'll be, we can still refer to resources like this, but then we have like our own representation of what it means for us, right? So let's read Sagittarius right now, 10 degrees. That's where the sun is right now. Let me find Sagittarius. Where are you at? I think it's next to Aquarius in here, maybe. Hold on, where are you at? It's Cancer, it's Cat, Libra, Aries. Where are you at? You're at the front. Oh, you're next to Pisces. That's right. That makes kind of sense. All right. Wow. Wow. This is so perfect. Just even reading like the top thing on here. So Sagittarius 10 degrees. A star turning many different colors. Bedazzled by the lights. Intoxicated by the display. Amazed and stunned by the spectacle. You are your own audience, your own accompanist, and your own shadow catcher. Prone to excess in all things, and a release of spirits unending. Becoming roles, worlds, way of presenting itself. Taking karmic episodes of the past and replaying them in another variation. Given over to the senses, body charged, chaotic, and commanding. Taking life through all its shifts and nuances with easy and spectacular capacity, you feel somewhat at the mercy of the shadow that comes back to haunt. Effortless grace and subtle burnout, for there is more than this, and it will not come unless this does not consume itself and make way for the unknown as the only place to go when the excitement wears off. Ooh, and I'm getting vibes of celebrities that make it and then they realize that after they make it, it doesn't give them the sustenance that they want. How many times have you achieved something and it was like, it was cool for a while, but then kind of the excitement wore off? And we play this cycle over and over again in many variations, and such is life. This is why it's so important to appreciate our trophies, to appreciate our accomplishments, and to be grateful, but also to be grateful for the moments when we feel like we haven't accomplished anything. To be grateful for the moments when we feel like we don't have much to show for our efforts, because this is a continual cycle. And Sometimes we put our trophies up on the mantle and we marvel at them and marvel at them and marvel at them, and then we get complacent and we don't do anything else because we feel like, well, this is what I've achieved. You know, I'm also getting vibes of like sports stars who may have won championships while they played sports, but you can only play certain sports, especially I'm thinking football. It's like usually you retire in your 30s, but especially with, you know, the advancement of medicine, especially these sports stars that have a lot of money, so, you know, they have access to great healthcare, going to be around for at least another 30 or 40 years, you know, most likely, you know. I mean, of course, things happen, but what are you going to do during that time? You know, you can only be a sports star for such a long time. What are you going to do? Are you going to get caught up on, 20 years ago, I caught the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl? And it's kind of like, I even have one of those moments in 8th grade. Well, 8th grade was one of my best football years, American football. And I remember this game where I took out the quarterback on the second play of the game, the opposing quarterback. I didn't quite sack him. He got the ball off, but he wasn't able to play the rest of the game after that because I took him out of the game. And that was honestly one of my best games that I've had in my whole football career. But that's from 8th grade. That was a long time ago, right? So it's like, it's cool, I remember it, but I don't necessarily, and it's kind of up on the mantle, but if I harbor too much on that, then it does consume itself. The excitement does wear off. And when the excitement wears off, we have to go and venture into the unknown. And it can be scary to go into the unknown, right? You're probably right, Lauren. Neither of us wanted the US. I'm pretty sure I had Asia. You're right, because I'm like a Japanophile, and Asian stuff is, well, my favorite cuisine is Asian food. Anything Asian food, either like Japanese, Chinese, Thai. I love Asian style cuisine. I think the culture is really cool too. So pretty sure I was in Japan when Hiroshima happened. But let's read 11 degrees of Sagittarius, because that's where the moon's going to be very soon. A string of pearls. Everything seems equal to everything else. Ooh. Tell that to some people. That'll trigger them. Life coming in at such an angle of perception that it always leads to the same places. What goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. Right? Characteristic observations, pet phrases, cliches, truisms. Becoming aware that everything makes perfect sense, that it all fits together as naturally as can be, and that all you have to do is pay attention. There is a second, deeper lesson, elusive and baffling, that may ultimately prove to be centered around who is the observer and what is that special ingredient they put in there that makes everything so self-evident. If the world is right there for the asking, the self remains an enigma, an unknown, the territory yet to be mapped out or rendered commonsical. Commonsical. And when I'm thinking of the string of pearls, I literally think of each pearl as, it can be seen as a life or it can be seen as an experience. I'm thinking of soul beads almost. And it's like after this life, you have a new soul bead, and then you go into the next life, the next experience, right? And it's like, and this can be literally about you incarnating again, or this can be about experiences themselves. So right now where the moon is at is that there's this highlight on going into the unknown, going into new life experiences, diving into areas that we think we haven't figured out, but not necessarily. And this is great because I'm literally thinking of a conversation that I had with my partner earlier today, because it's like we're kind of wanting to go into a direction that feels similar to me, because I saw my parents do it and it didn't pan out the way that I guess I wanted it to pan out. And it worked for many years, but it ultimately didn't pan out. And I guess I don't want that to happen to me and my partner. I'm getting pretty real and raw here. And it's like, but that's them. That's their energy. That's their karma. And yeah, you know, first of all, I have the opportunity to break the cycle, and she has the opportunity to break the cycle as well. But it's like, this is our experience. And, we can feel like we're doing what others did that came before us, or we can be like, this is our experience and we're doing something new. So I'm really glad I read those, actually. And it kind of makes me feel better about, the next stage and what I want to do. So, but yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ancestral karma that's being broken right now. That's the North Node in Cancer. Not only that, but that's the North Node of post-Pluto. So a lot of ancestral karma, especially when it comes to relationships, are being broken right now. And I think that's another manifestation of the South Node in Capricorn is that we're seeing is that on a deep level, we know that these karmic cycles are breaking, and we're going to be establishing new cycles that will be broken in like however many 100 years, whatever like that. But it is time to move on to a new chapter. And it's like there's some people that are literally reading the last chapter of this book over and 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 over again because they don't want to move on to the next book. Or, oh my goodness, there's not another book in this series. Oh shit, it's over. Oh shit, I have to write the book now. That's kind of scary, And it's like, yeah, it is kind of scary. That's the dark side of Sagittarius too. Is that like people think that Scorpio is a dark sign, and it is. But Sagittarius, the dark side of Sagittarius, really fucking scary. Because the dark side of Sagittarius, think about it, it's mutable fire. So perceivably, it's not the most active of the fire signs. It's not the most like in your face because it's mutable. So it's like it can feel very icy and cold. That's why Sagittarius, at least from the northern hemisphere, is going into those winter months. That's why it starts to get cold around that time of year. And that's why you have the holidays. So you can bring people together and you gather the warmth that way. You know what I mean? So a lot of ancestral karma is being broken right now, and some people really don't know what to do with it. And we're all feeling the effects of this, and we all are in some way reading the last chapter of this book over and over again. Whether we're reading the whole chapter, whether we're reading a particular line or a particular passage, we all are kind of hung up on the old story. And, it's a good story. Don't get me wrong, it's a good story, but it is time to move into a new. And this is going to take some time to develop. I think we'll really begin to see more of it when Uranus goes into Gemini. But Uranus is still in Taurus. It's the first time it's been in Taurus, and like besides last year when it came in a retrograde back in like what, almost 80 years or so. So it's like, think about what's happened over the last 80 years. A lot of shit's happened. A lot of shit has happened. This is a very critical time, especially with Uranus sextiling Cancer right now. So it'll sextile the North Node. When it will sextile the North Node exactly? It'll be next year. It'll be next year when it's sextile officially. It'll be between February, so the sun will be actually in Pisces, interesting enough. During another Mercury retrograde in Pisces. That's great. But yeah, Uranus and the North Node will be sextiling next year. And that Mercury retrograde is going to be interesting because it's going to be retrograding from Pisces back into Aquarius. Not only that, but Venus will be meeting up with Uranus. I'll show you guys this too. But the reason why this year is very important is because this is a year of expression. And we are at the end of our rope in many ways. In the Chinese zodiac, we're in the year of the pig, which is the last animal in the Chinese zodiac. So it's like, which means that in the story of the emperor's race, the pig was the last one to finish. That doesn't mean that the pig is the bottom of the totem pole. No, it just means that the pig took their time, you know. Kind of probably just enjoy life. Now, we can sometimes get too complacent. That's the danger of this energy. But since this is a 3-year, which 3 is ruled by Jupiter and the Sagittarian vibe, and Jupiter is in, guess what? It's home sign of Sagittarius. So it's like, this is going to be a year of experimentation and expression. Whereas last year was a year of massive, massive, massive clearing. So we can actually come into this new year and really begin to express what we're feeling deep within our core, within our soul, within our spirit. So this is a year of getting messy, making mistakes, get paint all over yourself. This is that kind of a year. This is not a year of necessarily painting within the lines or coloring within the lines. You can do that if you want to. There's no Virgo energy right now, by the way. But it's like, this is a year of like getting paint all over yourself. You know, this is a year of getting dirt on all over yourself. You know, play in the mud. Get out there, express yourself. You know, that's what this year is about. I'm gonna go into the chart soon, but before I go into the chart, does anyone have any questions for me? Whether it be personal or just related to what's going on right now, before I hop into the chart and kind of show you where things are at the moment. Toby, you might want to look in the mirror, brother. You might want to just look in the mirror. You know, if you're carrying that vibration within you, that's coming from you, not them, by the way. So a message or comment is being held for review. I'm not going to show it, but I will talk about it. So if you really fucking hate that particular group of people, Toby, that hatred is coming from you. It's not coming from them. Just saying. So I radiate love in your direction. What's up, Iman faculty? How are you doing? What's up? How are you doing? We're going to hop into the charts a bit here. Just doing kind of a live Q&A, just random chat. What if you were that gay son in a past life, Toby, and your father felt that same way about you? Oh yeah, I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, we already got a dislike on the video. It's still attention, and I'm a transmuter. I'm Sagittarius rising, sun in the 12th house. I do this on the daily. So I'm not really tripping about this, you know. I've met a lot of cool people. Some of the coolest, most authentic people I know are gay. So, whatever. So, yeah. I personally don't think anybody is 100% straight, by the way. or 100% gay. I don't think anyone's 100% straight or gay. You know, that's just my personal belief. I know if there were certain people, certain dudes that asked me out on a date, I would say yes. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna fucking hide it. I don't give a shit. Yeah. If Adam Levine asked me out on a date, I'd be like, hell the fuck yeah. I'd be like, hell the fuck yeah. I will go on a date with you, Adam Levine. Hell yeah. So that's a lot of zeros, bro. You're holding space. Anytime that you have a 1 followed by a bunch of zeros, it means that you are trying to really safeguard yourself, because 0 is ruled by the Scorpio energy, which is about protection. So if you're having to put on that much protection, aka that much armor, that means that you are really, 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 really insecure, by the way. I'm gonna need to get some moderators on here. I'm trying to find my star constellation. How would you find that using degrees? What degree is your sun, Amanda? Because there's a way to look it up. If you look up, let's see, if you look up, let's see, fixed stars, astrology, there's a really good resource that you can use. Let's see if I can find it. If you go to, I believe this is the one. Yeah, if you go to, so the way that you can do this is that if you go to astrologyking.com, I just have it, and I'll just even show it to you guys right quick. The way that you can do this. Hold on, let me screen share real quick. If it'll let me, come on now. Crap, hold on, let me see if I can screen share. Why won't it let me do this? Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. All right. So right here, this is Astrology King right here. And this is, if you go into Google and just type in fixed stars, it should be one of the, or fixed stars and constellations, it should be one of the first thing that pops up. And it will show you all of the fixed stars in their degree. So you have, like, you know, this is 2 degrees, 35 minutes of Aries, Deneb Kaito. So if you just go in here and look, you can see what fixed star your sun or moon or whatever it is that's close to. You can just do that. And it goes all the way through. And then, of course, you have constellations as well. You know, Andromeda, Aquarius. This is a very good resource because it is important to know about this aspect of astrology as well, to know what stars are in close proximity. So, for example, for me, I'm a Scorpio sun, 24 degrees. So my sun is really close to Aegina, also known as Hadar. Let's click it real fast. Beta Centauri, you know, big star, Aegina, Beta Centauri is magnitude 0.6 trinary star system. Comes from the Latin words of me. It's sometimes called Hadar. And then it'll even tell you a little bit about the astrology and stuff like that. So, Astrology King. It's a very good resource. You just type it in on Google, it'll be very, very useful for you. But yeah. So let's see. 18 degrees of Cancer. So let's go back and look at that actually. 18 degrees of Cancer. 18 degrees of Cancer is, let's see what's close to that. You have, it looks like for you, it's going to be the fixed star Wazit and Protus. Those are the closest ones. What's that? That's a cool name. I'm going to get the page up first and then I'll show you guys. Ooh, interesting. So let me share my thing again. Hold on, give me 1 second. So, oh, crap. All right, here we go. So this is a fixed star known as Wazat. What's that? At 18 degrees of Cancer, it has an orb of influence of about 1 degree. And it's a 3.5 magnitude pale white and purple double star. That's really cool. On the right elbow of Castor, the northern twin of the Gemini constellation. Comes from the Arabic word meaning the middle. Pluto was discovered conjunct Wazit on the 18th of February 1930. That's interesting. So Pluto was discovered while Pluto was in Cancer. That's pretty interesting. Is of the nature of Saturn, connected with chemicals, poisons, and gas, violence, and malevolence, destructive as a first principle. Said to cause trouble, disgrace, sickness, loss of fortune. Of course, you know, since you are this energy, you got to understand that a lot of this stuff, when it comes to this, it can mean these things, disgrace, sickness, blah, 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 whatever. But you also have to understand that, like, what does this mean for you? You know, what does it mean for you? Astrologers assign to this constellation guardianship over human hands, arms, and shoulders, while Albumasar, did I say that right? Held that it portend intense devotion, genius, largeness of mind, goodness, and liberality. Considered the house of Mercury and a fortunate sign. Chinese astrologers asserted that this is a constellation that if this constellation were invaded by Mars, war and poor harvest would ensue. So a lot of this is sort of like the kind of like the older, you know, interpretations of these things. But since it means the middle, it is more than likely kind of gives me this vibe that you can be a bit of this peacekeeper and you're wanting to kind of bridge different realities. Kind of can make you a bit of like a counselor or a bit of like a, yeah, kind of a bridge between people. But that's kind of how you would find what stars that your sun are conjuncts. The other important one to look up is your moon. So it's actually funny. So I'm a Pisces moon at 28 degrees, and my Pisces moon is conjunct Sheet, right? Which is kind of funny because the way that you kind of know it is by oh shit, oh sheet, right? So it's about causes extreme misfortune, murder, suicide, and drowning. So I'm like, well, fuck, that's kind of intense. Now I can say that in my early journey, in my dream state, I had dreams of drowning and stuff like that. I don't really have that anymore, but you know that's kind of how you would find what stars and what constellations influence you, because it is important to know that stuff as well. But you can also look at the constellation. Constellation Pegasus gives ambition, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm, caprice, and bad judgment. Prevails against disease of horses and preserves horse semen and horsemen. Oh my gosh, I said horse semen, didn't I? Horsemen in battle. The constellation portends events concerning ships and oceans, blah, 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 whatever. So it's like, you can look at this sort of stuff and it at least lets you know what stars it are. Like, and yeah, not all of the interpretations are going to be quote unquote positive, but I would encourage you to go into meditation and to really feel into what these stars mean for you. So you don't necessarily have to take these descriptions as verbatim, but this is still a very good resource to use. So. Searching for a longer day. People feeling like the light has just come. We must never stop the way. I'm a Libra and perhaps that's why, but it's almost hard for me to imagine how anybody could not be at least somewhat bisexual. Perhaps it is empathy. I agree, P-Light. I think, like I said, I don't think anyone is fully one way. I really don't. Now, does that mean I'm going to climb into bed with the dude? Probably not. Probably not. I probably could kiss a dude, but, you know, sorry, babe. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think anyone is 100% one way. Sorry, I just don't. That's really a good point. When you pick up on energies and emotions, it's not about the gender, it's about the soul radiating. I honestly see souls, not gender. That's kind of the world we're heading into. I believe it's called, we kind of have a term for it. I think it's called pansexual, when you acknowledge the person and not the gender, or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of the world we're heading into anyways. We all have divine feminine and divine masculine energies. We all do. In fact, for me, I have mostly water and earth in my chart. And water and earth is stereotypically feminine. So, I mean, because I don't have a lot of air. I have Venus and Libra. I don't have anything in Gemini. I barely have Aquarius energy. And as far as fire goes, yeah, I'm a Sag rising. I have Chiron and Leo. I don't have anything in Aries besides my part of fortune. So as far as like major planets, I'm mostly water and earth, you know? So it's like I'm very connected to that aspect. Not that I'm not connected to the fire and air, but yeah. Be the Infinity, what's up? Shout out. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining, B, and thank you for joining Victoria as well. I know you reached out to me earlier. I still had to reply to your message, and I had to reach out to B the Infinity. You reached out to me, so I have to reply to your message. But thank you all so much for joining. We're just vibing here and chilling, kind of a live Q&A, just kind of talking about the energies and life and stuff like that. You know. It's all good. We are vibing. We're radiating love. It's been a very chill day for me. It really has been, which I needed a chill day. I really did. But yeah. Of course, we got good music too. We even got some haters. Got some haterade. I'm having more vivid dreams than Pisces season. I have to go back and look at your chart actually, to look at your 12th house and stuff like that. But my dreams last night, oh my gosh, they were vividish. Oh my gosh, like I kind of wanted to write them down, but I have images of them. It's like I saw like a solar system, but there was like 2 suns and 2 moons. And then there was other stuff that was happening. It was so crazy. My dreams last night were vivid. And I wasn't even lucid. I have like these, so I have like my dreams that I was kind of like, I'm kind of in the flow of things. Then I have very vivid dreams, but I'm not necessarily lucid, but I'm kind of somewhat aware and I'm picking up on things. And then I have my lucid dreams where I know I'm like manipulating things in my dream. It's a lot. And most of my dreams fall in that vivid where it's like, I'm not necessarily manipulating things. It's almost like I'm a student. And I'm not like purposely going into my dream and trying to do things, but I'm just paying attention. So my dreams have been vivid, like crazy. Where did you get that Raven shirt? That's a Scorpio moon right there. I believe I got this from Hot Topic. I believe I got this from Hot Topic. Raven is bae, by the way. Nothing against Starfire. I've actually grown to really love Starfire. But growing up watching Teen Titans, I just automatically just like was attracted to Raven. Probably my Scorpio sun in the 12th house, honestly. But yeah. It was a while ago when I got this shirt though, so I don't think Hot Topic carries it anymore. But I want to say it was Hot Topic is where I got it from. That's why mine were about worlds blending to the point where I don't know which realm I'm awakened. That's another weird thing. How I'm glad you mentioned that, Victoria. I'm really glad that you mentioned that because it's like you can awake from a dream and you can step into a reality that looks very much so, pretty much undistinguishable from the reality that you were in yesterday, but it has shifted. Every time you go to sleep at night, an aspect of you is being reborn, and an aspect of you, in many ways, is kind of leaving like your space and is reintegrating back into the soul collective. So things do shift, and timelines do shift. So it's like you, like when you wake up in the morning tomorrow, you're gonna be in a different reality than you were in today. You will be in a different reality than you were in like 5 years ago. So things do shift. It's hard to kind of tell what reality is anymore. You know, like today is not yesterday, and tomorrow will not be today. So, um, oh, the scorpion is your spirit animal. That's awesome. I really want to look back through your chart and stuff like that. I have several dreams where I'm battling other beings. I actually don't do battle as much in my dreams anymore, but the other day I had a dream where I was doing battle. For some reason, the Powerpuff Girls were there, which was really freaking cool. But they're like pretty much calling out to me like, "Yo, hey, can you help us defeat this thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, sure, yeah." And it was funny because like when I was fighting this being, this monster, whatever like that, I was like, I was almost toying with it because I knew that I had the ability to just pretty much wipe it out, but I was almost toying with the monster. Like I wasn't being super serious about it. It was kind of funny. Um, but yeah, Inception dreams are real. I had some. It was either I woke. I think it was I woke up from my nap and I kind of entered into that space where it felt weird. I felt like I was communicating with the stuffed animals that are on my dresser because our dresser is right across from our bed. And I was like kind of almost like talking to them and stuff like that. It was interesting. Um, but yeah, dreams right now. We gotta remember, guys. Just because the sun's not in Pisces anymore, Mercury is there and Neptune is there. Mercury is conjunct Neptune, so we still have a lot of this Piscean influence. You have cartoon dreams. That's unique. Yeah, I love cartoons. I'm a big kid. I like pretty much pretty much 80 to 90% of what I watch is cartoons. I don't get into a lot of the. I mean, I do get into some of the other shows, but I don't really, especially movies too. Like, um, I haven't seen Infinity War, and I don't really feel the pull to go see Endgame either. I probably will watch it. The last movie that I watched was Christopher Robin, uh, which is actually kind of a live act. It is live action technically. But we watched Christopher Robin, which was talking about Christopher Robin from like Winnie the Pooh. He grew up. Me and my fiance watched that. It was a great movie. It was awesome. I fucking loved it. And we came to the conclusion that each of the characters were on a different drug. So I don't want to ruin it for you all, but just like if you happen to watch Christopher Robin, if you have it on Netflix or you happen to go watch it, stuff like that, it's really funny. But this is what me and my fiance kind of came to the conclusion of. So Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Owl are smoking weed, and Pooh has the munchies. Piglet is constantly paranoid, and Owl is like always thinking of like crazy, wild, out there stuff, but can't quite remember how to articulate it. That's why he has a lot of wisdom, but doesn't know how to articulate it. Hair is probably on coke. Hair is on coke. Tigger, he is on ecstasy, like intensely on ecstasy. Eeyore is probably sober, but if anything, he's drunk. But Eeyore is like he's drunk. But Eeyore honestly was my favorite character in the whole movie. He was great. They got him perfectly. Rue obviously can't do anything, so he's on a sugar rush. And then of course Rue's mother is like the absent mother that you see in cartoon shows. I'm thinking like Timmy, like Fairly Odd Parents, like Timmy Turner's parents, how they're just like absent from his life, and he gets in all these wacky adventures, and his parents are not around. So Rue's like on a constant sugar rush. Tigger has ADD, Rabbit is OCD. That is so true. That is so true. And Tigger is a Leo, by the way. Just because he's a tiger, don't get it twisted. He is a Leo. I actually finally paid attention to his song about tigers and how they're a wonderful thing and how he's the only one. And he talks about himself. I'm like, oh my gosh, you are a Leo, Tigger. You're masquerading as a tiger, but you are a total Leo, which is cool. I'm just saying. He's like really into himself. But yeah, Christopher Robin was it was a funny movie. It was great. It was really good. Really appreciated it. Eeyore was amazing. I freaking love Eeyore. It was funny because like my fiance, her favorite character in the show in general was Eeyore. And I was like, really? Eeyore? And then after watching this movie, it kind of solidified it for me as well. I'm like, yes, Eeyore gang. We are doing warrior work in other dimensions. Yes, we are. We really are. The battle is on. We are fighting. We're fighting the good fight. And we are super powerful. I was watching Crazy Bull earlier today, and she was talking about her experience, and I was like, holy crap. Like, you know, this is real. And I think a lot of times what happens is that we get psychically attacked through these sort of like these big things, like whether you go to a concert or whether you go to a movie. It's like, you know, those are prime times to getting spiritually attacked because, you know, and I like the movies, I like music, I like concerts, but it's like in those moments where it's giant crowds of people, generally people are very unconscious of what's happening and what's being projected onto them. So it's like, it's really intense. Like I could even recall a time back in Colorado, I went to a concert, one of the best concerts ever. And it was Bass Nectar, and he had a couple other people there. And it was a giant crowd of people. Everyone was on some drug. I was high the whole time. But it's like I kept looking up to the sky because I felt like there were aliens. And it was like the way I felt was almost like they weren't abducting people, but they were like hovering in the sky above us and they were rocking out with us. But I kept looking up to the sky. I was like, where are the aliens? I could sense them. I could sense them. I could sense something's going on here. And I was like, I'm sure that everyone around was either on some combination of weed, ecstasy, coke, alcohol. It was crazy. But whenever you get large groups of people in an entertainment-like sphere, it is prime time. It is a prime time for manipulation. It is a prime time. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy these. I'm not saying never go to the movies again or to never go to a concert again. Just be aware that those are prime times for manipulation. They really are. And Crazy Bull she definitely spoke to that in her live earlier. So, Ocarina of Time emoji. Believe it or not, I've never played that game. I do have Breath of the Wild though. I need to get on it though. I never had an N64 growing up, so that's why. I've been meeting up with ancestors as well in my dreams. I haven't really been doing that as much. I have met up with my grandmothers a few times, my recently deceased grandmothers a few times. They kind of come to me in other ways and stuff like that. So, but this is definitely a time to where we are being visited by our ancestors, especially with the North Node being at the later degrees of Cancer, that is dealing a lot more with the ancestral energy. I'm not sure who you're referring to, Victoria, as far as who. Are you referring to my grandparents? My grandmothers? So both of my grandparents, both my grandmothers have recently passed away. First was my grandmother on my father's side, which was a couple years ago, and then last year was my grandmother on my mom's side. So I do still have a great grandmother on my dad's side. No, you're not playing Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I know. I'm a giant nerd and I haven't played it yet, but I didn't have an N64. I grew up with PlayStation, so I had a Game Boy Super Nintendo. And I have a lot of games for it. But yeah, grew up with PS1, PS2. I bought my own PS3. I have a Nintendo Switch now, so I think I can get it on the Nintendo Switch. Right now, I'm playing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. So it's been a fun game. It's been a fun game. Yeah, I definitely want to play it. I know it's a classic, so I also want to play Majora's Mask because I haven't played that one yet either, but I really wanted to play that. It was funny. I had like the video game like guide for Majora's Mask. My parents bought the guide for me for my birthday in 4th grade, and I loved it. I still love it. I don't know where it is anymore, but it was one of like the best gifts I've ever received. But I never actually played the game. I've watched like gameplay of Majora's Mask, but they literally bought me like the strategy guide for the game, but I never actually had the game for Majora's Mask. Kind of crazy, but yeah, I'm a nerd, and I've gone around the block a few times, but there are still some things I haven't watched or played. So, you know, it happens. Let the moon destroy the town. That's funny. That's funny. I think there's a reference to that in Smash Brothers. It's like one of the assist trophies that you can buy. I did not buy, but you can get, and it shows a moon like coming into the stage, and then like, you know, destroys people, whatever like that, I guess. So, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, another thing I kind of want to, I think that's really interesting is, which I want to talk about it in future videos, is the fact that, you know, we pay attention to our moon, you know, the Earth's moon, but we don't really pay attention to Jupiter's or Saturn's or the other planets have moons as well. So it's kind of important to tap into that aspect as well, the moons of these other planets, and their influence on us as well. So I think that's another thing that's really important. Other satellites, other energies, other celestial bodies that we can tap into. So I think that's very interesting. All right, guys, how about we hop into the charts and see what's going on? All right, guys, so here is the current chart. As you can see, the moon has moved to 11 degrees of Sagittarius. It's going to meet up with Jupiter probably tomorrow. Yeah, it looks like it'll actually meet up with Jupiter tomorrow. It's actually kind of funny how literally an hour from now, the moon will meet up, 24 hours from now, excuse me, 24 hours from now, the moon will meet up with Jupiter. So that's pretty cool. So And Jupiter will be at 24 degrees of Sagittarius. Oh, look at that. As you can see, we do have Mercury here at the edge of Aquarius. Venus here at the edge of Aquarius. That's some Mercury retrograde type shit right there. Venus here at the edge of Aquarius. It will be ingressing into Pisces tomorrow. You will feel this. You will feel this. The sun is at 5 degrees of Aries. Let's read 5 degrees of Aries. The reason why I want to read 5 degrees of Aries is because we do have a harmonic of 5. We have 5 energy right here. We have 2 plus 3 with the North Node, 2 plus 3 with the South Node, and we have 2 plus 3 with Jupiter. So we have this harmonic of 5 energy right now. Let's read 5 degrees of Aries. Five degrees of Aries. The statue of a god worn by devotees kissing. Interesting. The statue of a god worn smooth by devotees kissing. So the statue essentially has been worn down because devotees of this god have been kissing it. Honoring the spirit within at all costs, insisting upon the vertical aspects in all things. You feel driven by the heart to go to any lengths to express and embody the realization of divinity. Intoxicated with the divine, called beyond and taken by a passion, you are dedicated and consecrated and given over, transported into other realms, ecstatic, a frenzy of conviction that nothing matters except the ultimate, swept away, released into the cosmos, liberated from the wheel, and expressing an inexpressible with consummate conviction. I'm going to read that last part again because I kind of got tripped up on it. Liberated from the wheel and expressing the inexpressible with consummate conviction. So really just completely giving yourself over to the divine. And we're going to get this energy for most of the day on Tuesday. Most of the time, let's see, when Venus enters into Pisces, the sun will still be at 5 degrees of Aries. Jupiter would have just came to 24 degrees of Sagittarius, with the moon being at 20 degrees. And this is where we're going to be shifting, interesting enough. Uranus will have just, you see this? Look how amazing this is. We have Uranus at 1 degrees of zero. Oh my gosh, Mercury retrograde got me, guys. Uranus at 1 degrees of Taurus within the 0 solar minute. Venus at 0 degrees of Pisces in the 0 solar minute. And Jupiter at 24 degrees of Sagittarius at 0 solar minute. This is divine. Chiron also has a 5 in here, right? This is magical. Magic. This is really the setting forth of this new reality, of this new you. And really, in what I really see this as is that you have planted something. You planted something when the sun went into Pisces, and now you are finally seeing the first saplings being broken through. And now it's like, oh my goodness, it's like you're wanting to give yourself to that sapling. You're wanting to give yourself to that creation because it is divine. You put your hard work and effort into it, and you have worked for this, and now you are expressing this immense gratitude. I do want to read, because of this, I do want to read the 1st degree of Taurus, and I want to read 24 degrees of Sag. I don't know if this lists 0 degrees in here. I think it does. It lists 1 degree. So let's read 1 degree of Taurus first. This is where Uranus will be. And Venus just came out of Aquarius, which is Uranus ruled. A red garnet ring. The garnet glows. A passion for bearing ripe fruits. Feeling transported by an ongoing realization that you are in your own element, doing what you need to do, and subtly fired by an inner purpose that clarifies everything. The glow of your sensual intent warms you through. This quality of soul is simple and direct. It makes for a primal, elemental presence. One cannot grasp complex matters in the sphere, but you know what you need to know, and you're on the beam so palpably that nothing much matters except being there. You distinctly charge the atmosphere with the pranic renewal, a source of sustenance, and the whole idea is to make way for the universal life force to stream right in and bless with an all-forgiving radiance. Ooh, that's beautiful. That's where Uranus is going to be. That's very radical to simply just be here and now and not to worry about the details, not to necessarily worry about the journey itself, but just to appreciate the journey. It's literally like you are a sapling, and it's like, yes, you have it in you to become the beautiful flower, but right now, don't focus on that. Focus on where you are right now and how beautiful that is and how blessed you are and how forgiving the universe is. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Let's read 24 degrees of Sagittarius. A statue of Isis covered by a transparent veil. We got a couple of statues here. The one who lives inside is awash in colors, tones, and symbolic ritual displays of extraordinary, precise attunement to the heart and soul of ancient wisdom. Wow, I'm going to read that again because that's saying a lot. The one who lives inside is awash in colors, tones, and symbolic ritual displays of an extraordinarily precise attunement to the heart and soul of ancient wisdom. You are suspended in a long ago time. So much of your being is still back there. I'm going to talk about that after I finish reading this. The evolution of the world since the ancient times is neither acknowledged nor accommodated in any way. It all depends upon whether this exquisite gift of soul remembrance is honored and exploited. If it is exploited, which is so very tempting, the life empties out of meaning and value and becomes false and repulsive. If it is honored, the expanded faculties on tap become revitalized and find a fresh relevance. As the divine feminine reveals what we need to know and draws us to our utmost capacity, it is within an unfallen grace of sensing directly into the deepest parts of people and all they can become in the ancient future ahead. I love that last line. I'm going to read it again. As the divine feminine reveals what we need to know and draws us to our utmost capacity, it is with an unfallen grace of sensing directly into the deepest parts of people and all they can become in the ancient future just ahead. This is incredible because this is, in many ways, you can think of Venus as the feminine. Of course, Taurus is technically a feminine sign, but this is this is definitely deeply talking about acknowledging our heart. And if we do not acknowledge our heart and acknowledge this ancient wisdom, then we can kind of get caught up in the humdrum, of society and just, oh, it's just another day. Oh, it's just another day. But the statue of Isis, it's transparent, but yet, a lot of times, here's the thing though, love, when it comes to radiating love and radiating our truth, it is transparent. It doesn't really care. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't dumb itself down. It doesn't water itself down. It is what it is. And if we honor that aspect of ourselves, then we can't be left behind, and we won't be left behind. Nobody gets left behind. And I'm really happy that this spoke about the divine feminine energy, especially considering what we spoke of earlier in this. Wow. I'm going to read 1 degrees of Pisces, since I don't think it lists 0 in here. Although technically, I can read 30 degrees of Aquarius, and that will technically be 0 degrees. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to read both of them. So let's find 30 degrees of Aquarius. 30 degrees of Aquarius. A large pool filled with white water lilies in bloom. Integration and synthesis, putting it all together. Creative intelligence at its best. Having gone ahead and seen what can be, yet suspending your vision so that freedom and open-endedness are honored. Honored. Living on many planes at once, in intricate refinement, you have the ability to hold in place as many independent variables as become relevant, an especially distinctive quality of unqualified or unconditional regard and respect for one and all. Universal brotherhood and sisterhood as the impulse of the future, active now. Ooh, I'm gonna read that again. Universal brotherhood and sisterhood as the impulse of the future, active now. That's where Venus is going to be, guys. Wow. And I'm going to read 1 degrees of Pisces as well. A field of dandelions. Teeming with mass consciousness, you feel yourself to be as anonymous and undifferentiated as you can possibly be. Hiding in this identification is comfortable, cozy, and safe, and it can be prolonged indefinitely. While you wait here with individuality suspended and all of life being right at hand, the utmost remarkable discoveries can take place. In particular, you are welcomed and invited to know the ancestors. Wow. To know the collective, to know the sweep of evolution intimately and compulsively, to be swept along on the tides of time, to stay bonded and rooted in the dream plant state. It is a rapture and an abandon. Eventually, it satiates itself, and then you are sprung, very fresh and very new, to be free in the world and to make the ultimate discovery of the vast difference between casting your fate to the winds and being vitally present in the moments, dawning with celebratory fervor. Oh my goodness, guys. I had no idea how powerful this shift was going to be Monday into Tuesday. But it's super fucking powerful. Oh my gosh. We're definitely going to go live tomorrow for Venus going into Pisces. Like, whoa. I know y'all can feel the vibes. All right. Because your boy has a very weak bladder, I'm going to go back to the bathroom. I'll be right back. But in the meantime, enjoy the music. I'm going to just keep the chart up too for you guys. Hello. Okay, we're back. Cool. Anyways, let me hop into the live chat, see what's going on. Oh, magic is reality. Yeah, Isis is one of the goddesses that I connect with the most too. It really is. Wow. We're definitely going to have to go live tomorrow for this Venus and Pisces. I'm really excited. I really want to talk about it. Guys, this is amazing. Like, we're really shifting. Like, we really are. We're integrating a lot of these aspects of ourselves that we have held back, and now they're coming and they're whispering in our ears and our souls. Where a lot of us are experiencing this through dreams, but we really are moving into the new world. Like, this is amazing. It can be scary. As I was reading that, I was literally getting like these vibes of like, go for it, do it, go for it, do it, go for it, do it. And I know what it's talking about. And I'm honestly scared shitless, but I'm kind of excited, y'all. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. What is so significant with having planets in the 12th house? I heard P. Steeler talking about this a couple of weeks back. The 12th house is considered the hidden zone. It is the house that is ruled by Pisces, traditionally. So anytime that you have planets in the 12th house, these are energies that in many ways are kind of hidden from you, but at the same time, they kind of take on this. The 12th house is kind of interesting because it's a little hard to describe, but they take on this sort of Alice in Wonderland kind of energy, right? It's very mind bending. And so anytime that you have a planet in the 12th house, it's like a lot of the qualities of that planet are kind of morphed, and they're kind of backwards in a sense. Now, if you are a 12th house sun, such as myself, it's I can't hide anything from myself, essentially, right? I can't hide anything from myself. Now, some people are really good at hiding things from themselves. Now, ultimately, you can't hide anything from yourself. Nobody can. Doesn't matter where your sun is. But so say like you have sun in the 12th house. That means that the brightest illuminary is in the hidden zone. So it's like trying to put something that's like shining inside of a box. It's going to peep through the crevices and stuff like that. I have my 3 outer planets in the 12th house. Yes, be the infinity. Yes, whenever you have outer planets there, they can be very subtle because Pisces can be a very subtle energy. It can be kind of in your face, but the 12th house is a very subtle energy. Traditionally, it's ruled by endings. Traditionally, it's kind of in many ways death, but it's also revitalization and rebirth. The reason why I say death is because, yeah, Scorpio rules death and rebirth, but the 12th house is speaking to this deeper quality of our soul too. So it's like going back into the cycle in many ways. So anytime you have planets in this spot, they are going through this pretty much this massive renewal. You know, that faculty that exists within you, because we have to understand that these planets, they exist within us. And we may call it Uranus or whatever like that, but within our space, it's actually its own vibration and it has its own name, right? So anytime that you have a planet or a faculty or a factory of celestial bodies in the 12th house, it's going through the sort of Alice in Wonderland kind of like trip, you know. The 12th house is the force. Yeah. Be the infinity, you hit it right on the nail. The 12th house is the force. Now you can use the force for perceivably positive things or negative things, right? You know, Darth Vader used the force, but he used the force in a different way than Luke Skywalker did. Wonderland explains the 12th house perfectly. If one is aware of the 12th house energy, one is living both worlds, 12th and 6th house at once, in a sense. That's true. That's very true. I don't have any 6th house energy. My 6th house is Taurus. I have nothing there. So it's like, I really don't come into reality until the moon or any other planet transits there. So Mars is there right now. I pretty much live in Alice in Wonderland. Like, that's like my regular reality, you know. That's why sometimes it's kind of hard for me to establish. Now, Victoria, like I would say, like I'm lucky because I'm I have access or easier access or more efficient access to those qualities. But then when it comes to integrating them into the physical reality, I have difficulty doing that sometimes. So I can live in dreamland and la la land forever, and it's fun, and it's where I thrive. But then trying to integrate them and translate them into this physical reality is one of my challenges in this life. It's a challenge that I am definitely up to the task too. But sometimes it can be difficult, constantly living in that space. But it's fun. And I would not have incarnated at the time that I did if I didn't think that I was up to the challenge. So I probably will have to do a video, or maybe like I'll do something where I talk about the houses. I could talk about the first house, second house. Maybe I'll do that as like a live series. Like I'll talk about, all right, today we're going to talk about the first house, and today we'll talk about the second house, and so on. You're welcome, Mike Cruz. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining too. 17 is actually my favorite number, and ironically, 17 apparently for me is an unlucky number. Apparently, my lucky number is 27, which is funny because my fiance is a 27-degree Aquarius sun. It's kind of cool. But I was born on the 17th of November, so that's why I like 17. I kind of get why 17 might be an unlucky number for me, but at the same time, since I have a lot of Capricorn energy, it does help me with the vibration of 17. Because 1 + 7 = 8, and 8 in step astrology, if you know Christopher Waitekki, if you follow him, it's ruled by Capricorn, and my North Node is there. So I'm actually meant to, in this lifetime, like learn how to take these very magical, whimsical topics and ideals and philosophies and learn how to actually ground them. So 2017 is when I had my awakening. Me too. I've had these epiphanies and experiences before 2017, but 2017 was when my awakening happened as well. I was into astrology before then and studying all this sort of stuff, but as far as like the awakening aspects where it was uncomfortable and I felt like I was going to die was 2017. That's when it happened to me as well. Crazy experience. Can't talk when the smoke is in my throat as much. 2017 was a very enlightening year. Like I really began to really find myself that year. I really did. And I was already into all the spirituality, studying astrology and tarot and studying the law of attraction, all that stuff. You gotta understand, like I was brought to knowing what the law of attraction was in 7th and 8th grade. So I've been around this stuff for a while. That's when I first saw The Secret. I started getting into conspiracies and 9/11 and all that stuff. Like when I was like in 6th, 7th grade. What about that? 8th grade. So around middle school was when I started getting into that sort of stuff. And then when I hit high school, I was like all into conspiracies and that whole aspect of everything. But then when I left high school, I made a vow. I was like, you know what? I want to focus on some of the more positive things, not turn a blind eye to the negative stuff, but I wanted to focus more on the positive things. And that's what I started to do. And then I need some lights here. I need like a spotlight. That's another thing I need to get so you guys can see my face more. But yeah, 2012 was for everybody. 2012 was a collective awakening. That was actually when I met my fiance. It was 2012. During the shift, pretty much, which was actually pretty interesting. But yeah, 2012 and 2017 was huge. 2016 was a huge experimental year for me. It was very, very fun. But 2017 kicked my ass, especially psychologically. I got my ass handed to me, but I would not take it back. That's so cool. You guys woke up before I did. I woke up last year and I had to get sick in order to do that. Thanks, Saturn Return. I haven't even gotten to my Saturn Return yet. So I'm just like, oh, Lord. What are y'all going to do to me? I already had my awakening and like Saturn's about to come in. What are y'all going to do to me? I'm just like, uh, and y'all people who have Saturn in Capricorn, like y'all got it interesting because it's like I have Saturn in Aquarius at 1 degree, so I know it's going to be a very weird and unique way that Saturn hits me. But those of you who have Saturn in Capricorn, like it's hitting on a very interesting way. Saturn is actually my favorite planet. Like growing up and like when I was like into like astronomy and everything like that, I love Saturn. It makes sense. I'm a North Node in Capricorn, but like Saturn was just so freaking cool. Like I love the rings. I thought it was a beautiful planet. Then I got into astrology and I was like, oh, Saturn's a hard ass, and Saturn's a goddess, by the way. They like to make you think it's a dude, and there's masculine energy to it, but it's more of a goddess energy. So, but yeah. I'm a progressed Capricorn rising. I think as of this year I'm 1 degrees Capricorn rising in my progress chart. So I've started to embody it a little bit more and get into it. Um, Saturn is no joke. I have Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune in Capricorn, fourth house, stellium in Capricorn. Yeah, I'm a stellium in Capricorn too. Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. The Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn generation. That's a very, very important because we hear about the Pluto generations, you know, Pluto, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, uh, Capricorn, where it is right now. Pluto and Aquarius is going to Pluto and Aquarius is going to be the when we start to really see the glitch in the matrix. Those kids, the Pluto and Aquarius kids, they're going to just fuck shit up. And Pluto and Pisces is literally just going to be everyone's going to be on acid. So, but metaphorically. But yeah, the Uranus and Neptune and Capricorn generation is very, very powerful. I have Uranus and Neptune within a 3 degree orb in Capricorn in the second house, conjunct my North Node. So yeah, we're literally revolutionizing the way that spirituality is being presented in this world. That's Uranus and Neptune in a nutshell in Capricorn. Mercury was always my favorite, and it's all over my chart. Yeah, I've been learning to kind of give, and Mercury's kind of a neutral planet. I don't really give Mercury a gender per se. I think it's more neutral. Um, I think it's pretty cool how it revolves around the sun once every 88 days. So you get the 8-8. And 8 is the infinity symbol, so I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, Mercury's pretty cool too. I have Mercury in Sagittarius. I've been learning how to work with that energy a little bit more. Work with it a little bit more efficiently because Mercury doesn't like to be in Sag. I'm starting to get why, but I also have to attribute a lot of my creativity especially when it comes to writing, to my Mercury in Sagittarius. It's just whether or not I can actually like stay focused on a particular writing idea or topic. So we're making spirituality look cool and more acceptable. That is true. But here's also the other thing about it, and you can see this play out, is that there is still, even though, and we're going through, you know, the elementary baby steps in this phase of making spirituality look cool. But you can you've seen videos with the thumbnails on YouTube, and I've watched them too. And these people I want to meet these people too because they're doing what they're supposed to do. But it's like you'll hear things like, you know, you attract your reality, law of attraction, 5 things to do to be more spiritual, and blah, 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 blah. And this is necessary because it does make spirituality more commercially accepted. But what people usually find out when they dive more into their spirituality is when you have your awakening, it's not always rainbows and sunshine, you know? You get sick. You get psychologically attacked. Shit happens. But when you come out the other end of it, it's not that you don't get attacked anymore, but it's like you learn how to grow through the challenges. And you also appreciate the challenges, and you appreciate like the times where it's just chill and relax, and you don't necessarily feel the need to force the issue. So I agree that Uranus and Neptune is revolutionizing the way that we look at spirituality, especially as it manifests in this physical dimension. Um, and we are making it more accessible to people. That's the beautiful thing about it. Saturn return is literally a tower moment. If you look at the card, if you look at the tower card, hold on, do I have any of my cards here? Is this a deck? I don't know if it'll show it really good in this deck. I want to show you guys the card of the tower because it's really important. Let's see if I have a deck that kind of shows what I'm looking for. See if I can find it in here. It's one of my favorite decks. This is the Shadowscapes deck. I'm looking for the tower. Where are you at? This is definitely very Capricorn vibes. But after the tower is destroyed, you're reborn and you're kind of feel refreshed and new. Where is that card in here, man? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm pulling out a couple of cards here. So you're talking about Capricorn as the tower. If you really think about it, Saturn, which am I frozen right now? Okay, I'm good. All right. So we have the tower, right? Which is definitely very Saturnian vibes. Come on, focus. Come on, focus. Anyways, so you have this tower, which is the structure, which in many ways represents your life up to this point. And then you have this lightning bolt usually that strikes the tower and then it crumbles, right? And what's interesting is that in the tower, what comes after that? The star. And this is Aquarius energy. And the star, Aquarius, does come after Capricorn. So what happens essentially is that lightning strikes your life as you know it. It blows it to smithereens. Everything that you thought you knew is really up for debate, for grabs, to be transformed and to be renewed. But then you get the star card, which means essentially that you're being abducted out of your current life and being transported to a new world and a new reality. So if you want to think about it, the tower is in many ways Capricorn. The lightning bolt, as many ways, is Sagittarius. It's Zeus, and then and then you have the star card that comes after it in the major arcana, which is Aquarius energy. So yes, the Saturn return in many ways, and I have not personally experienced it. It's building up for me, but I've experienced it in past lives. In many ways, it's literally like you can be walking along the street, metaphorically, this is your life, and then suddenly disaster seems to strike. And then your life just completely changes on a dime. You are literally abducted out of your life and you're transported to a new reality. And you're having to essentially remake yourself. It's definitely this moment in life where it's kind of like this it's kind of this checkpoint of like, okay, where am I at? Where am I going? What do I do next? You know, it's like you've had all your fun in your early 20s. You know, you had your second Jupiter return in your mid-20s, and it's like you had your fun, and now it's like, oh shit, I'm getting older. Like I had that thought. I'm like, holy fuck, I'm 27. I'm like, this thing ain't stopping for nobody. It's like, you know, you can feel like you're indestructible, but then it's like you're still aging and shit. And it's like we are going to be moving into a world where it's going to become common to live into our 150s and into our 200s. And, you know, there will be eventually a time where we actually get our Pluto return, which is like a plus 200-year cycle. Right now, most people, some people don't even get to like their Pluto opposition. It depends. Because Pluto takes a long time to go through certain signs. That's why the Pluto and Scorpio generation is very powerful, because I can even just look it up real quick. When will Pluto be in Taurus? Because it's going to be a while before Pluto hits Taurus. Let's see. And before it goes all the way through Taurus. So some people don't even get their Pluto opposition, you know. Pluto will not reach Taurus until, oh my gosh. Pluto's not going to reach Taurus until about 2098, 2099. So pretty much at the end of the 2000s. I'm not going to be here. I mean, that's 80 years from now. So I'll be in my hundreds if I happen to be here. So, because Pluto doesn't move as fast in this half of the zodiac. Now, there are some people, if you happen to have like any grandparents or grandparents that are Pluto in Cancer, they're getting their Pluto opposition right now. But you know, that's just kind of one of those things. So yeah, the Saturn return is in many ways kind of going from that Capricornian vibe to that Aquarian vibe. And Aquarius is still ruled by Saturn. It's still a traditional ruler of Saturn. But it talks about being abducted out of your life and being transported to a new life. You know. Let's get back into these comments. How do you get selected to read your sign? I'm not doing personal readings right now. If you have just like a basic question, I can answer it. But I'm not doing personal readings. If you would like a personal reading, you can always follow the link in the description below to Astro Fenixx. And if you use the promo code GRATITUDE, then you'll get a percentage off of your reading. I think I'm going to be a big kid when I'm older. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, the Saturn return usually happens around your late 20s. So it's like 28, 29, 30 years old. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Saturn can be very cool. Just you also have to understand that there are challenges that come along with it. What's up, Inspire Art Studio? Thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be live for. I've been live for like, what, 2 hours now, guys? Wow. But, yeah, it's interesting how the second Saturn return usually correlates kind of with the midlife crisis, although I like to think that the midlife crisis is actually the Chiron return. That's what I like to think of it as. But it's like, yeah, the Saturn return, it's like you get to that checkpoint in your life. It's like, oh, what am I doing now? And here's the interesting thing about the Saturn return, guys. You gotta understand, like, we're in the year 2000. Not even 200, 300, 400 years ago, a lot of people didn't get to their Saturn return on average. I mean, not as many as right now. So it's like we're living in a very unique time where people are experiencing multiple Saturn returns. It's one thing to get one Saturn return, but even just think 200 years ago, it was not as common to get your second Saturn return. Jesus didn't even get his Saturn return. Well, no, Jesus did get his Saturn return. He didn't get his Chiron return. Jesus was just coming off. If you look at, like, I guess, like the mythology and stuff like that, he was what, 33? So he had just got off his Saturn return. You know. I really appreciate it, guys. I really do. Thank you all so much for joining. Um, it's really fun. I really just enjoy coming on here and chilling and chatting with you guys, talking about astrology, talking about life. I love that there are so many nerds out there. We're taking over. Inspire Art Studio. I have a question about the Uranus and Taurus transit. Maybe that is not appropriate. Sorry, I'm late to the show. Go ahead and ask Inspire. What do you want to know about Uranus and Taurus? Thank you so much, Light Cruise. Radiating love in your direction. Take care. I'm probably going to go live again tomorrow. I don't know if we'll be as casual as this live, but tune in. How do you find how do you find all your planet returns? I do have like a actual program, like an astrology program that allows me to do that. You can also use Planet Watcher if you just go in on Google and type Planet Watcher and you know where your planets are, and you can just, it has this ability to where you can fast forward a day, a month, or a year, and you'll be able to find when it's going to happen. My North Node is in Taurus. What degree is it, if you don't mind me asking? Is it close to where Uranus will be? Because Uranus right now is at 0 degrees of Taurus, but it will shift to 1 degrees of Taurus really soon, actually within the next day. Is the transit going to impact that? Absolutely. Uranus is going to revolutionize. When you think of the North Node, it's in many ways, or so the South Node are the gifts that we bring into this life. The North Node are the gifts that we are wanting to develop and establish more. So with Uranus going into the space, it's going to give you the opportunity to look at innovative new ways of establishing these gifts. So with the North Node and Taurus, what you're bringing into this life is that Scorpio South Node energy, which is a lot of this mysticism, occult. You might have been involved in a lot of that stuff in past life. Maybe you were involved in the witch trials. Maybe you were a witch or a warlock. But with the North Node being in Taurus, now it's about taking all of that occult information and learning how to ground it practically so it can be seen. So in many ways, it's like, I like to think of Taurus as like a garden, like flowers and stuff. So what you're with Uranus, what it's going to do is that you're going to want to, Uranus is an innovator. It likes to change things up. It's a rebel in many ways. So it's about, you're going to be wanting to plant flowers in your garden that no one else has ever seen before. Or people will be like, oh, you can't plant that flower there, or you can't plant these two things next to each other. And a part of you is going to be kind of like, why not? So Uranus and Taurus in many ways is going to allow you to innovate the way that the gifts that you're already bringing into this life with your South Node, so that when it starts to meet closer to your North Node, it's going to allow you to manifest those gifts in a more unique, innovative fashion. So 27 degrees, whoo, that's a late degree. So yeah, you might not necessarily feel the effects immediately, but since Uranus is kind of it can be a bit of a wild card energy sometimes, it's going to be sort of like, it might take you a while to kind of feel the effects of this. But what's interesting though is that, Mars right now is actually at 26 degrees of Taurus. So Mars is actually on top of your North Node, which is very interesting. So that means in many ways, when the North Node comes on top of when Mars goes on top of your North Node and passes it within the next day or so, you're going to have like this renewed sense of action on how to move forward. And what's even cooler about it is that by the time that Mars comes on top of your North Node, Uranus will have shifted to 1 degree of Taurus, which is going to be involving the heart. So it's going to be like you're kind of feeling something bubbling up, and it's like now your heart really wants to express it. So it's like it's about taking that expression and like kind of practically grounding it, if that makes sense. But what's weird is that, like, when it comes to this practical energy, you know, Uranus and Taurus is not really super practical anyways, you know. But and when I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that it's going to, it's like I'm seeing, what I'm almost seeing is like a row of houses, and everyone has like kind of almost like the same garden, or like kind of looks similar, but then there's always that one house that's just like, whoa, what do they have planted? That's Uranus and Taurus. And so you want to think of it as when Uranus finally meets up with your north node in about probably like 6 or 7 years or so, when this towards the end of the transit, it's going to be like people are going to notice what you've been planting. People might not notice it immediately right now, but people are going to stop by your home and be like, oh wow, you have a really beautiful garden. And it's going to be different than what most people are used to and have seen. So um, thank you so much for joining, Victoria. Take care, radiating love in your direction. I hope that helps inspire Art Studio. Um, Uranus and Sagittarius ascending. Oh, shout out to the Sagittarius ascendants in the building. I'm also a Sag rising. Uranus and Taurus reminds me of a rolling earthquake. You don't feel it at first. That's true. That is true. A rolling earthquake. Sometimes in many ways, it's kind of almost like the thunder. It's like you don't see the lightning until after. Well, you don't hear the You don't hear the thunder until after the lightning strikes, right? So it's like you can strike while it's hot. Uranus, in many ways, is very much so electrical energy. But what's going to happen is that the lightning is going to strike, and then you hear the with the rumble. You're very welcome, Inspire Art Studio. You're very welcome. I'm probably going to head out in a bit. I'm going to just kind of chill the rest of the evening. I hope you all got some value out of this. I definitely did. I definitely had a lot of fun. And I really do appreciate all of my recent subscribers. I appreciate all the people who have been with me from the start. And, you know, let's just put our hands on our hearts right now. Just take a couple of deep breaths with me. I like to smile on the exhale. Thank you, God. Thank you, Goddess, Universe, Source Perspective, for this moment. Thank you for this gathering of beautiful souls and spirits. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for all that you've given us, have given us, will give us. Thank you for the challenges. Thank you for showing us the way, how to overcome, how to integrate. Thank you so much for all of this. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for pushing us when we need to be pushed. Thank you for holding our hand when we need a hand to hold. Thank you for holding us when we cry. Thank you for cheering for us when we succeed. Thank you for allowing us to be angry when we need to be angry. Thank you for shielding us when we need to be shielded. Just thank you for the hug. Thank you for the kiss. Thank you for the love. Thank you for always radiating that all forgiving nature to us and this unending support. God, Goddess, Source Perspective, we just thank you so much for this moment and for this uniting of souls as we raise the vibration of the space and location that we call Earth. Thank you. All right, guys. Y'all have a beautiful, blessed, blissful evening. I love you all so much, so much. Join me. I'm probably going to go live tomorrow talking about this Venus aspect. And also, like I said earlier in this, look out for future meditation videos that will be coming onto the channel. The first one will probably be posted within probably either tomorrow or Wednesday. But you all take care. I love you all so much. Again, I can't say that enough. Y'all have blissful dreams, or if you happen to be waking up and you're on the other side of the world, have a blissful day. But y'all take care, stay blessed, and as always, my beautiful brothers and sisters, always remember to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often. Ah!